We have seen both these players play earlier, I believe. At least we've seen William Wright. William Wright absolutely crushed a Fritz deck. Fritz, if you like. You like...
Frights?
You like frites as in French frites. I like frites as in pommes frites.
Sounds like an actual French word.
Oh, yeah, and it is. And on the difference between these two decks, for the most part, the blue gives William Wright the access to our happy zombie captain, the Diagraph captain.
That guy is huge, and
Totally
I think
awesome.
might be the turning point. So William leads on a Dark Slick Shores into a Diagraph Ghoul, and we'll have deck lists here in a minute. The players just got to review them first before the match.
And Jerrod's, on the other hand, doesn't have those kinds of cards, but he does have Phyrexian Obliterator, which I think could be incredibly relevant in this slog versus slog creature trading.
Depends on what kind of removal Will has. So Jerrod has a Gravecrawler to match Will's Diagraph Ghoul. Will cracks in for 2. And passes the turn. The 2-drop slot is just a little bit weak in these decks in general. That's one of the falling points. You know, Dross Hopper actually was in a 6-4 deck at the PT. You know, Dross Hopper, limited sideboard unplayable. Jerrod cracks in for 2, 18 all. Okay.
So Jerrod Webb's deck actually has Smallpox in it. And he does splash for Lingering Souls, which he can only cast off of Isolated Chapel and off of Flashing Back from Smallpox.
Which he can also
and
discard,
Liliana.
Yeah, you can discard it to a Liliana. So this is another deck that Lingering Souls just kind of goes with everything. So I'm interested to see where that goes. Jerrod Webb's deck is kind of just the core creatures. So Will plays a Geralt's Messenger after cracking in for 2 on this turn. Life totals are 14 to 18 in William's favor. Will's deck has the High Priest as well, which is going to be huge here, I feel like.
And, you know, from the sideboard, we also see that Will has Vapor Snag, which, again, I think is going to be very impressive for how this matchup plays out, particularly given how few creatures that we see from Jerrod's deck.
Though Jerrod has sort of Feast and Famine. Ooh, that is going to be amazing here. Jerrod untaps and draws. Sends his Gravecrawler in. Life rolls drop to 14 to 16, still in Will's favor. And
third land for Jerrod.
Isolated Chapel, Lingering Souls.
There we go. Now our belief was, because we hadn't seen the deck lists fully earlier, that this was a pure mono black. I think it's fair to call it, you know, black splash white, but it's pretty close to mono black.
Yeah. Let's see. I think Will's a bit ahead, but something like an Obliterator could easily swing this game. You know, Will's removal is not... He's got 4 Tragic Slips, but Guess Verdict isn't going to be very good right now, and he just has Mortar Pods aside from that. So Obliterator is going to bog down the board a fair amount of the time. The other card that Will does have, though, is Phantasmal Image. That card is going to be very important here. And it's worth noting that Jerrod has Go for the Throat instead of Doomblade in his deck, which is going to be key.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the things we've seen a lot more Doomblades recently. Doomblades recently.
Yeah.
I think largely because robots are real.
Yeah. There's Tempered Steel, there's Wormcoil Engines, but I think that's going to change.
I think that we are in a world where perhaps we might see a return to Go for the Throat.
So
because I haven't seen as many robots lately.
There's a Phantasmal Image copying the Messenger. Jerrod dropping to 12.
Whenever you have the ability to use a card like Phantasmal Image or Metamorph to copy a card that has Undying or Persist, it is so awesome.
I'm trying to remember what was always copying Persist guys back in the day.
Well, you can do it now. I mean, in Modern, it's something I've been doing, and it's like really amazing.
Cracking in with the Messenger and the Diagraph Ghoul. Jerrod with the option of chumping with a token or just double blocking. Probably to trade with the Ghoul out of these two. Trading with the Messenger doesn't really seem like it gets him anywhere. Let's see. Can drop to 7 facing down a pretty big board. Yeah, just gonna opt to chump. Maybe keep stable until you can drop some big threat this next turn. The other card we don't see in this mono black list though is Lash Writhe we were talking about.
Yeah, we were talking about this I think this morning and last night, where we see Obliterator in a spot that we both are kind of wondering. I think Ari brought this up when we were talking, that maybe Lash Writhe might be a quote-unquote better Obliterator.
Well, not even that. It might not be a better... there's another
second image, which is yet another Messenger.
That is triple Messenger effectively in play for Will. And Jerrod's dropping down to 8 life here, facing down 3 messengers. This is going to get a little bit rough. No, I don't know if it's better. It's just another alternative, and it depends on how aggressive you're trying to be. Maybe Jerrod's deck is just not tuned to be that attacking. It's a bit more of a controlling deck with this Smallpox.
I think that could well be it.
Smallpox is another card we haven't seen a lot of. Just very powerful effect in the format, and just I get more and more things to make it better. It'll get more and more interesting to see what he does. So
There's the Obliterator.
Obliterator for Jerrod, but
No,
Will has a lot of attackers, and
Will has a lot of attackers and a lot of answers. Like,
Jerrod's actually dead.
is he dead on the table?
Well, he has to block with Obliterator, and when he does, Will gets to sack.
Yeah, you're right.
Gets to sack messengers and burn them out.
Yeah, that's totally true. It's
He's gonna
he can
take
do
minimum
6.
Yeah, deals minimum 5 in combat. Gets to trigger 2 messengers. Yeah, especially because he can stack the Undying triggers.
And I think what he's doing right now is just pointing out that Jerrod's dead.
Let's see, actually,
Boom.
no, Jerrod can block. Jerrod actually can block with. So if Jerrod blocks Obliterator on Messenger, Messenger dies to combat damage, and the trigger from Obliterator resolves first. So Will has to sacrifice permanents before the Messenger comes back. So he's not absolutely dead, but Jerrod might just be facing down 2/6. Oh,
There, it's not. That's not the
incorrect
right one.
blocks. Yeah. So yeah, the Obliterator take 3, the Undying trigger from the Messenger, and the trigger from Obliterator for damage go on the stack. Active player's ability go on the bottom of the stack. Non-actives are going to go on the stack after. So the Undying trigger would resolve after the sack. So he would not be able to sack his images and get them back as messengers. He could get them back as Obliterators, which might be good enough next turn, but right now
we're seeing right now, William wants to go ahead too far, and the exact thing you're talking about the Obliterator trigger has to happen before he can get his. So we're waiting for him now to decide what he wants to sacrifice.
I mean, at this point, he can just sacrifice the messenger in the image.
Oh, yeah,
stack it so that the messenger comes back first.
Oh yeah,
and just
absolutely. I'm just
burn
talking
Jerrod
about
out
what's
for
happening right now. Why we're
lethal and then some.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's a bit of a
We're just waiting for William to figure out what he wants to do.
yes, but William should have this on lock right now.
Maybe he doesn't see it.
Yeah, it's possible that he might misorder his triggers. He opts to sacrifice 3 lands instead, and puts Jerrod to 1. He doesn't see that he can just burn him out here. So, let's see, can Jerrod mount a comeback from 1 life here? He has Sword of War and Peace. Let's see. If that Gravecrawler gets hooked up. Oh, there's a Skurzdag High Priest to block, and he will no longer have the Obliterator back to block if he attacks, and even a War and Peace should be not enough to keep him alive. Tragic slips the image,
Which means he's dead.
assuming that he copies the messenger. Yeah, okay, there we go, packing him in. Okay, and that was
very
fast
quick.
Game 1. So we definitely like Vapor Snag out of the board for Will.
Oh yeah, we absolutely like Vapor Snag out of the board.
I think it just straight up replaces Guess Verdict against this Lingering Souls, Gravecrawler, Geralt Messenger deck.
I think that's completely reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's anything else you really want to do. You could theoretically push in Porcelain Legionnaire over something.
Maybe like Liliana.
You could put in maybe 2 Porcelain Legionnaires over Liliana.
Yeah.
But I actually kind of wonder if Liliana is actually stronger in William's deck, because he is so likely to have a bunch of small creatures versus. But then again, we're still talking about a deck that has Lingering Souls. So yeah, Lingering Souls.
Liliana and Guess Verdict are not super exciting right now.
Yeah, so maybe we take in 2 Porcelain Legionnaires and 4 Vapor Snags for 4 Verdict and 2 Liliana of the field.
Yeah, something
like that.
Maybe
perhaps.
leaving like a Verdict, because the
Right.
extra damage could matter. It's worth noting that this blue blacklist only has 21 lands. Yeah, very
Okay.
interesting.
So, for those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan. I'm joined here this morning by Ari Lax, Guten Morgen. And we are here in absolutely still sunny in the morning, Memphis, Tennessee, for the Star City Games Open Series. And we just saw the end of Game 1, where William Wright, defeated Jerrod Webb. And so he is our first game victor. But you can also be a winner at home by answering our trivia questions. So the way that these trivia things work, they happen every Star City Games weekend, where at the top 8, in the first round of the top 8, in the quarters, we'll ask a trivia question. we'll ask one in the semis, we'll ask one in the finals, and they're going to be worth, for one lucky winner, 3 months, 6 months, and a year of free premium. Is it free a year?
We're giving away a Gen Con badge.
Gen Con badge.
Oh my gosh, a Gen Con badge. That's actually a lot better. Not because, I mean, I'm a big fan of premium, but just a Gen Con badge is awesome.
Yeah,
That's totally
Gen
awesome.
Con's a good time.
Absolutely. So what you have to do at home is, if you look right down there, that hashtag SCG Premium, you need to respond to the trivia question with the hashtag at SCG Premium. And what we're going to do, one person that gets the trivia question correct will be chosen at random to receive the prize. So the question for the weekend is this. For the semifinals is this. We had 3 decks that were not particularly fair that we said cheated their creatures into play.
Yeah.
What enchantment did all 3 decks in the top 8 run?
Yeah.
They are none of them made the semis.
Yeah, all of them fell in the quarterfinals.
All of them fell in
But
the quarters.
We were really excited about the mechanical aspects of this deck.
So what
They're
what enchantment was in 3 of the decks that were in our quarterfinals and in none of our semifinal decks? They had 4 copies each.
Yes.
These 3 players,
That
4 copies.
was their deck,
So that is the
basically.
question. If you can tweet the answer to hashtag SCG Premium, if you want to, you can put at SCG Live. But you know what? The hashtag is what you
Yes.
want. That's the one that matters. So the question: what enchantment were there 3 players playing in the top 8 at 4 copies, and none in the top 4?
Yes. I was really excited to see that deck go on.
Me
but
too,
It
me
was
too.
Very, very close match we watched. A couple close matches we watched yesterday.
Yeah. So getting back to our match at hand,
Yes.
we have Jerrod Webb. We figured out, we think kind of what William Wright wants to do, right?
Right.
You're right that Guess Verdict, I think, is a card that maybe he'll leave in 1 or 2 of. Maybe he'll leave in 2 Verdict and drop 2 Verdict, 2 Liliana for 4 Vapor Snag, and not even bother with Porcelain Legionnaire. That'd be reasonable.
There's some mix that's probably right there.
Now, remember, both of these players get the opportunity to look entirely at each other's deck list before the match.
Right.
So, what do you think we're going to see here? I think we're going to see a control package come in for Jerrod Webb.
Jerrod has Ratchet Bomb, Black Sun Zenith. I don't know about Surgical Extraction, but I would definitely want Nihil Spellbomb. Nihil Spellbomb can take out a Messenger on the Undying trigger. It can take out Grave Crawlers. It actually seems awesome in this matchup. And it also, puts you up a card. And also these Sword of Feast and Famines are going to be extremely important.
I think the 8 cards that I like are Ratchet Bomb. These are all 2 ofs. Black Sun Zenith, Sword of Feast and Famine, and the Nihil Spellbomb.
Yeah.
And what do we cut for that?
I might also see a Surgical Extraction coming in if you're really afraid of this Undying trigger, but I think that, I don't know if I really want Smallpox in this matchup. It doesn't seem like what you're trying to do. Like Smallpox and Liliana, these sacrifice effects seem very bad against this Diregraph Captain, Phantasmal Image, Messenger, Gravecrawler deck. He even has a Mortar Pod. Yeah, this does not seem like where you want to be against this deck. So I'd probably board out some number of Smallpox and Liliana.
Do you keep...
It's actually probably... I think Jerrod might leave in a couple Smallpox on the play, so you can just... Oh, you played a turn 1 Diagraph? Well, you have nothing.
I kind of wonder, though, if he's playing against another deck with Gravecrawler, the value of Smallpox goes down even more.
Sure.
So maybe he just completely kills them just because his opponent has so many small creatures that unless he goes turn 2 Smallpox, get your land and your creature, and it's not a Gravecrawler, that it might be just kind of a little too weak.
Sure,
and he's only got 23 land. It's not like he's pushing on the land envelope to, to really just, mess up his opponent's mana so terribly much, because he's actually not running very much himself.
Yeah, it looks like a battle of the Tragic Slips here. Actually, is going to be a lot of what defines this. There's a couple trumps on each side. Like High Priest is going to be a big issue, I feel like.
I mean, I can see 12 cards that I think are kind of mediocre here. That's 4 Smallpox, 4 Liliana of the Veil, and 4 Gravecrawler. And I'm not saying Gravecrawler is a mediocre card, but Jerrod's going to be blocking.
Yeah, Jerrod wants to... Well, not even just blocking. He wants the ability to block. He might just be attacking, but Gravecrawler doesn't really give him an option. And he doesn't have like a Mortar Pot or anything to really take advantage of this Gravecrawler. He just has Feast and Famine, and anything with Feast and Famine is not going to be dying anytime soon. So it looks like we're about ready to start game 2 right here. Let's see what happens. I don't know. I think post-board, I think pre-board William was definitely favored, but post-board, this sort of ability to sweep we've been talking about all weekend with, the token decks having Day of Judgment in their main deck, or some of the Delver decks featuring it in their sideboard. It's just kind of this sort of unique angle where you get to look at your hand, and if it's in your hand, you just get to say, well, I know what I'm doing this game. So it looks like, I think Jerrod left in his Gravecrawlers, based on what I can see. Let's see here. Jerrod on the play, debating his hand.
One reason to not necessarily cut out the Grave Crawlers is you still are a deck that will be having access to up to 5 swords, and you need somebody to carry a sword.
I think War and Peace might not be that great in this matchup, actually.
Up to 5.
Yeah,
5.
that's something we missed in looking at this. It's okay with like the Lingering Souls, but probably cut down on those. So
I actually still like it. I mean, the fact that you can't, influence with protection is real, but
you kind of just
just
want to
the-
lock it on Warhammer?
yeah, a Warhammer is pretty good.
Yes. Just the life gain is what's relevant here, I think. He's not really going to do that much damage on the swing, but gaining a bit of life could be a huge difference here. As we saw last game, it came down to messenger triggers, so like if those had been, instead of messengers, just generic, gnarled masses, things would have been a lot different. So Jerrod on the play leads on a swamp and a Diregraph Ghoul. Let's see. Will's hand, ideally he just wants to go, one drop, messenger, kill you. But he actually just has a Drowned Catacomb and a pass. Taking 2, maybe Jerrod's going to be the beatdown this game. Yeah, Will's deck still, again, surprisingly light on 2 drops. Jerrod plays another Swamp and 2 Grave Crawlers. Oh, wow.
Beatdown.
Yeah. 6 power in play on turn 2. This is a good start for him.
We really haven't seen this many powerful 2-drops in black.
Or
1-drops in black since the days of practically Tempest.
Yeah, this is like the Carnophage Sarcomancy, except for instead of downsides, these guys have upsides. I guess Diregraph Ghoul's up.
Well, can't block and comes into play tapped are small downsides, but they're not as good of big of downsides as they'll start losing life.
Yeah, things have changed. And that is 2 Grave Crawlers from Will. Looks like he drew that Swamp this turn probably, but these Grave Crawlers are not gonna win this race and not really gonna
6-shoe.
get in the way at all. They don't really do that blocking thing that well. William dropping to 12 on his, before he even takes a 3rd turn.
Are we going to see a messenger?
Ooh, that would be, yep, there's
a messenger.
10 life for Will. That is
10 life with 9 coming in and no blockers.
Yeah, this is just one of those draws where Will's deck is going to struggle to keep up. He doesn't even have an Obliterator to sort of stabilize here. I think his way to win here is going to be...
Will now at
see.
10.
He's facing on 9 power next turn. He has to probably Diregraph Captain as his way to win. Involves, just Captain, attack for 6, untap, do something silly next turn involving a bunch of clones, but he's pretty far behind on board right now. He could also play like a High Priest trade. Somebody's like, maybe, okay, all the guys that can block come into play tapped, though. He can't image anything to block. Unfortunate. This is hacking for 4, Gravecrawler, can't block and must attack are very similar. The old,
Can't block is a lot better than must attack.
yes.
Well, in some ways.
I think if Jerrod has Mortar Bodies in this game pretty steadily. Like, if he Mortar Pods, blocks the Messenger, shoots down the Gravecrawler, and then, Tragic Slips the Diregraph Ghoul, I think that's what he has to do to stay in this game. Let's see. Does he have a Mortar Pod? Or just a High Priest to chump with? He's very hesitant about what he's playing.
The reveal. He's like, nope, not showing you.
He might just be debating if he can even win this game from here, if it's worth showing what he has. Porcelain Legionnaire also might be able to, but he has to pay Who Life to play it, so...
No, would kill him.
Yeah, Porcelain... Oh,
The
there's
Legionnaire.
He drops to 8. He can stay in this game if he has a Tragic Slip. Otherwise, he's going to be... Oh, or a Fume Spitter. Fume Spitter would be very good right here. Ooh. Diregraph Ghoul. He is going to be, after this attack, at 1 or 2 life, his choice, facing down... Yeah, 2 life probably, facing down.
No, because he lost 2 life to cast it.
Oh, yeah.
He's
he
at
is. He's gonna
dead
go to
or 1.
Dead or 1. Ooh. This is very awkward for him. And he has no way to gain life in this deck, does he?
Nope.
Yeah. He can't even, can't Vapor Snag this messenger otherwise. Oh, just gonna recast it and kill you. How's that sound?
Puts him in a very awkward position with that messenger where he cannot kill it, nor can he allow Jerrod to kill it.
Yeah. Very true. Jerrod could just have a Liliana target myself with its -2 and kill you. Smallpox double kill you. It's a lot of things that could go wrong. Any of his 6 removal spells are lethal. Or potentially more removal post-board. Black Sun Zenith, if he has a land, is lethal. There's a lot of things that could just go, well, more wrong than they already have gone today.
Right.
Or for this game, at least.
And Jerrod looks to see if he can just outright win. He knows it's close.
Yeah, this is kind of like what we saw last game with those 3 messengers coming in. It's like, I know there's a way to kill you, but let's just make sure that we can get there. Will maybe missed his triggers last game. Let's see if Jerrod sees it to this game. Oh, is this just the second messenger? Oh, Black Suns for 1. Okay. So that Jerrod loses his Grave Crawlers and attacks for 3? I'm not sure that doesn't seem like the right play at all. It seems like the attack putting Will to 1, and just if you ever draw a land, you just instantly win the game.
Yeah, or attack, put Will to 1, and then if anything goes wrong, you can cast Black Sun Zenith and then kill Will.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That seems... Will might just be back in this game now. 5 is a much more doable life total. Wow, that's potentially a huge mistake here. Let's see if Will can capitalize. So, 5 life. Will drops to 3. Land. Recast the Gravecrawler from his graveyard. Okay.
Goes to
Also,
5.
Yeah, if, let's see, 5 life. And Jerrod knows that Will has no life gain in his deck. Let's see. What is Will's play now? Plays another Drowned Catacombs. This Diregraph Ghoul doesn't really want to chump down the messenger next turn. That'll put Will to 1. Or that'll put Will to dead. He needs to play another... Will's just packing it in.
Will packs it up regardless.
So,
and it's funny because I see Jerrod's face. He's got like a look on his face. And it's the kind of thing. Sometimes you'll get a win, and it'll maybe be off of a bad line of play.
Yeah.
And they're having some fun bantering there. But what you want to really be careful of is not tricking yourself into thinking that something that happened was necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
It
was an interesting call there. I mean, he can attack, but yeah, just putting Will into the scenario where this messenger is immediately lethal seems a bit more optimal to me. Just you're so far ahead that there's no way he can just kill you. He doesn't have life gain in his deck.
Yeah,
you'll just get into this board state where this messenger is going to kill him.
Yeah, the only way that he could have possibly come back in that game, essentially, for William, is for... Actually, yeah, even the Vapor Snag doesn't save him, because then he can just recast the messenger.
If you're at 1, you're just dead.
Yeah.
I think, leaving him at 5 life lets him set up some weird lines involving Fume Spitter and Mortar Pod where he can just stall out the board, generate a bunch of captains, and just randomly get into a board state where he just attacks and you die. That's what I would be afraid of there. Just make sure, once he's at 1, the game is basically over. This messenger just attacks, and actually looking at this, there's, Skurzdag High Priest, Fume Spitter, Mortar Pod. Those are the only creatures that can block a messenger without killing it.
Yeah.
And if that messenger dies, the game immediately ends. So, with Will on the play, we're going to see, another start where it's just 3-1 drops kill you.
Could be.
Could be. Let's see here. Yeah, sort of Feast and Famine did not make an appearance last game, but that could also be one of the very big deciding factors in this matchup. Interesting to know, Will Wright's sideboard features a green card, a white card, a blue card, and a black card.
Does he have any red cards, man?
He does not have any red cards in his deck that has only lands that can produce black mana. They happen to make blue, but 13 basic swamps and 8 blue-black dual lands, and your sideboard's a green card and a white card. Thank you for XM mana. There's actually 8 Corrosive Gales between these two decks. That was something that it's been talked about a lot lately. And
the special Hurricane.
Yeah, the sort of weird I can play Hurricane in every color against all these Spirit decks, but we haven't really seen a lot of Spirits, actually. You know, there's the one on the other side of the semifinals, but just looking back, I think we maybe only, looking at the feature matches, we maybe only saw 1 or 2, and it was, you know, maybe probably Spirits and normal Delver combined were only like the 4th or 5th most popular deck in the later rounds, looking at the top tables.
At when we watched
round 7,
when we watched
8.
When we watched Delver earlier, there was one Spirit Delver and one traditional Delver that we saw early in the tournament, and then we saw one finally play to make top 8 or not, and they, I believe, were the player that did make it. Yeah.
No, that was an unintentional.
Oh, the unintentional draw. That's right. So they didn't end up making it.
So back to the match. Both players taking a peek at their opening hands. Yeah, actually, going to the late rounds, there was a ton of Wolf Run at the top tables. Probably like a quarter of the top tables in round 7 were Wolf Run, and none of them made it to top 8.
Yeah, they all got beaten down.
Yeah, these zombie decks had a really good conversion rate, and the Heartless decks as well.
I think one of the things about the Heartless decks, because we saw a lot of, up at the top tables, Heartless decks just kind of floating up there. They can do very similar jobs to the equivalent of a Wolf Run deck, which is put some huge thing into play and have it dominate the world.
Yeah. Looks like Jerrod's going to 6 here. Yeah, just also, so if you want to just take a peek back to around round 7, the top tables were about a quarter Wolf Run, about half that many were black-blue zombies, and then Heartless. And then Delver, Humans, and Blue-Black Control were each about 10% of the top tables, a couple black-white tokens, and then a smattering of a lot of singletons. But like, when I say Wolf Run, there was also like a white Wolf Run deck.
Yep, and a Dungrove Wolf Run.
Yeah, and the Heartless decks were all very spread out. There was like an Architect one. There were the 2 blue-black ones that ended up top 8ing, and then Jokernal with his 4-color Unburial Rights one.
Yeah, I've been kind of thinking about what I like to call different decks for shortcuts, right, when it comes to Wolf Run. And, you know, the traditional Wolf Run, you're just like, oh, Wolf Run Ramp. Yeah. It's kind of the Wolf Run Red deck in a certain sense.
It's like Wolf Run Red, and White Wolf, Wolf Run Green, and then like...
There's the weirdo Wolf Run Blue.
Yeah, and then the Vault on the Vault Town Ramp deck we had yesterday.
That was such an awesome deck, by the way. If you get a chance, go through our archives and watch the Dame Kim's matchup.
That was actually the top 16 deck. That list should be up.
Yeah.
So Jerrod taking a look at his 6, down to 5 in this deciding game here. Will smiling a little, knows his chances are getting a bit better. Let's see. Yeah, I really like the Lingering Souls in this sort of deck.
It's really kind of interesting that he basically plans on casting Lingering Souls off of Pox and Liliana of the Veil. He does have 4 isolated chapels, but that's his only white.
Right. There's no Evolving Wilds, no basic planes, none of that. Just I'm gonna cast Obliterator and Messenger, and if I get the cast Lingering Souls, cool. Then Smallpox, very heavy black mana requirements. Still manages to splash.
Smallpox is really interesting in a deck with Gravecrawler and Geralf's Messenger.
Yeah, it's a card that...
I had forgotten that Smallpox was actually legal in Standard right now.
I keep forgetting. It was like the first card we built with when the format started, and then just like kept going away. I don't know how I keep forgetting these cards in the format. I drafted a really sick Smallpox deck in M12 at the Pro Tour and just completely forgot about it.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think that Smallpox is one of the Patrick Chapin designed cards from his very, very short stint at Wizards a while back.
Yeah, he like around Mirrodin and just sort of got locked in the file and just waited for its day.
I need to re-ask Patrick, but I seem to recall that Patrick might have been the designer of Smallpox.
He's got some good stories about things like Archon Ravager.
Okay. Well, how many cards we got there? 6 or 5?
That is it's a 5.
That looks like a 5-er. Ooh.
Yeah. First mulligan was a little bit of a debate. Second one was a snap ship. Let's see, is 5 enough, or are we going to 4?
I have seen people win on 4.
I did it the other day.
Yep. I haven't won on 4 for a very long time.
I was playing Splinter Twin, so it doesn't count.
I was playing Stompy.
land Exarch Splinter Twin. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll keep it.
I was playtesting for an event, and my opponent was playing a very, very overrated deck, and so winning on 4 was actually not a big deal.
No. I've done this in limited before.
Yeah.
On 4. The 4 cards are like Forest, Mountain, Fertile Ground, Chandra Nalar. Okay. Opponent just doesn't make a 3-drop, and like Chandra on 4 on the play. Oh, dead. Let's see.
The overrated deck that my opponent was playing was Saber Bargain for you
that
old
deck.
school combo players.
Was it the Renounce one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Renounce Academy.
Not a good deck, by the way. Overrated by a ton of people.
I thought it was cool. But,
it was cool. It was cool. Cool is different than good.
Yeah, I've always loved me some Dark Rituals.
Dark Ritual. Oh, there's a card that it was very good that it was banned a million years ago.
Very good that they have not reprinted it since.
Is Dark Ritual totally legal in the events we're going to be seeing later today?
Yeah.
Woo!
Dark Ritual is legal in Legacy. Ooh, down to 4 for Jerrod.
4 cards. Okay, we were talking about 4-card hands. You can do it. You can win on it. I've seen it happen. I've done it. It's been a long time since I've done it.
This might not be the matchup for it, but if your 4-card hand is just land, diagraph pool, and Will kept a slow one.
Yeah, actually, I saw somebody win a PTQ on a Mull of 4 in limited, and I was really, really just shocked. They just had one of those draws where it was like a turn 1 drop, and then turn 2 they didn't do anything, and turn 3 removal, turn 4 removal, game.
I actually had a discussion with a friend about this. I was actually he's like, yeah, I'm actually 50-50 lifetime on Mull of 4s. Again, someone who plays a lot of Splinter Twin, but yeah.
And actually, I'm forgetting that I had a Ravnica block constructed deck where I had several Mull of 4s that I won with, because of the Karu effects. I had a bunch of Karu lands.
The old Mull of 5 in limited. Turn 4, you look at your hand. Okay, I have to discard. You've hit every land drop. You've just gone like land, Karu, like cast a compulsive research, discard a land.
But except for it was constructed.
I wish Ravnica block constructed had been a format.
Honestly, I think the best deck I ever made in my entire life was a Ravnica block constructed deck.
It was such a cool format.
Yeah, it was a really great format.
But it was just the Pro Tour, right?
It was the team constructed Pro Tour.
Who won that? Was that
who won?
It was the Japanese team, right?
I think you're correct.
Was Kenji on that team?
I think you're correct, but I'm not 100% sure.
Let's see, is this 4 good?
Here, let's see William's opener. William says, Dark Slick Shores go.
Yes.
Jerrod, Swamp. Gravecrawler. Okay. He's got the start.
This is what he needs.
Now William has to kind of not do much.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of 2-drops in his deck, so it's very possible he doesn't have something here.
2, go. High Priest.
The most devastating thing would probably be a Mortar Pot, I feel.
He says go. Oh, Jerrod.
Here we go. Here we go.
Attack Gravecrawler. Little Gravecrawler that could. I think it's going to get slipped.
That does not seem like what he wants to be doing.
He just takes it. And a little bit of research from Ari here does confirm Kenji and friends.
Kenji and Shouta.
Kenji and Shouta Yasuka.
Oh, no, that wasn't Kenji. That was Saito, actually.
Oh, was it Saito?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see here. Geralt's Messenger on 3. Not going to block this Gravecrawler. Jerrod had no 2-drop to follow up this Gravecrawler, but if he has a Messenger, this could be a
close game. Come on, Gravecrawler. What do you got, Jerrod? Give us some more. Oh, 3rd Swamp go. Ooh. Not what we wanted to see there for Jerrod.
Ooh, yeah.
And now
if he has an Obliterator here, though, he could still be in it if Will can't kill it. Will only has 4 ways to kill an Obliterator.
Diagraph capped and from William Wright. Attacks for 4.
Ooh. Let's see. Jerrod dropping down to 14 here. Not what he needed necessarily to win on this mold of 4, but he is still in this game if he has a Obliterator that can start taking over. If he has, how many cards in his hand? He has a lot of cards. If he's just like Obliterator, Feast, and Famine, this game could get out of hand very fast.
Or even just cast a Sword of Feast and Famine right now.
Or, yeah.
Is that the Obliterator?
Yeah.
Oh, Obliterator.
This is a game of a mold of 4. And like, Will has to have 2 kill spells here, it looks. Something and then a tragic. Okay, so
there's a verdict. Goodbye, Gravecrawler. Tragic slip.
Yep, there's okay.
Boom. That was very sad for Jerrod Webb. William Wright, on the other hand, is very happy for him.
Jerrod dropping down to 8, facing down a lot of non-combat damage potentially.
Will almost laid another creature down, but I think Jerrod, if he has a Black Sun Zenith from the board, he could Black Sun. We already know that he brought in Black Suns in game 2.
I think if he Black Suns here, he just dies to the 4/4 Messenger flashback or Undying, and then the 2 Drain.
Obliterator.
Oh, another Obliterator. Let's see. Jerrod actually might still be dead on this attack. Let's see here. Yeah, if he blocks Messenger, he has to block Ghoul. He has to block Ghoul to go to 1 life here.
What if he blocks Messenger? What happens? He takes 5, takes 2?
Takes 5, takes 2, and takes 1 from the captain.
And the captain. Yes. You're right, the captain.
So, yeah, for those of you who have not had that much experience with Diagraph Captain, it's 1 blue-black, 2/2 Death Touch. Other zombie creatures you control get +1/+1, and whenever another zombie you control dies, target opponent loses 1 life. So it's kind of a Disciple of the Vault style effect for zombies. Or similar to, I believe, Vengeful Dead was the old school one.
Right. Not as good as Falconwrath Noble Unlimited, but still pretty good.
Constructed, it carries its weight. The Death Touch is surprisingly relevant a lot of the time. I've actually been a very big fan of that card. Oh, there's the second captain.
Is that just completely lock it out?
That is the guaranteed lethal on this attack. Let's see. He blocks the biggest one. He's still taking 7, and there's at least 1 trigger. So, yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
If he doesn't block the Messenger, it's lethal damage. If he blocks the Messenger, there's a lethal ping. And that,
honestly, Jerrod put up a really impressive fight
on this Moldifor, he was very much in this game if there was not a guest verdict tragic slip. So, yeah, that was surprisingly close for the Moldifor. Even though it looked like he's just getting beat down, it was very, very close. Jerrod just sort of thinking if he has any sort of out here, but
there is no out.
Yeah.
There is no spoon.
Yeah.
It's time
if he blocks the captain, 9 combat damage. If he blocks the Diagraph Ghoul, he takes 8 combat damage. If he blocks the Messenger, he takes 7 combat damage, but then the Messenger and the captain trigger. And it's not even like Will can sack the wrong permanents, because if he sacks a zombie, Jerrod dies, and regardless, the 9 trigger just kills him. So, that should be a wrap.
That's it. There we go.
That's the handshake. And Will Wright.
Oh, look at that. Jerrod's like, man, look what I fought with 4 cards. If I had 3 more cards, I would have got you.
Yeah, it was a very close